This episode is brought to you by Death on the Nile, exclusively in theaters February 11th. The greatest detective of all time, Hercule Poirot, returns to solve another deadly case. Join Poirot on a wild ride down the Nile River, promising luxury, intrigue, and murder. Grab your friends and get ready to solve this murder mystery on the big screen, starring Kenneth Branagh and Gal Gadot. Premiering only in theaters February 11th.
Adam!
Beau!
Travis?
Yes.
Guys, this week turned out to be sort of challenging. On Saturday, I got an alert from Experian saying that my social security number had popped up with a name that was not my name.
I've been using it, and it's been terrific. I want to thank you very much for it.
Why don't you use your own social security number?
No, because it's much more fun using yours. It cost me a heck of a lot less.
Well, so this, of course, set me down a rabbit hole of, it turned out, pretty decent-sized rabbit hole. I logged on first to irs.gov, where I have an account. I'm sure you're familiar with that site.
Yes?
And then I promptly forgot that I logged on to irs.gov because it wasn't working properly. I got something saying, oh, well, it's not really working right now. Log back in later. And I forgot that I did it. So I'll deal with this on Monday, I thought to myself. And I on Monday, dutifully, logged on, looked at the email from Experian, and checked my credit report, as they suggested I do. And went back to irs.gov, and I saw that somebody had logged into my irs.gov account on Saturday. And I had forgotten that it was me, so I completely freaked out. I logged on first to irs.gov, where I have an account. So the next thing that I ended up doing was I wrote to a friend of ours, Adam, Stephen Isaacs, and told him the whole story. I checked all my credit freezes. I immediately applied for my IRS one-use annual PIN code so that nobody could file taxes in my name. And I set up two-factor authentication everywhere. I went into last gasp mode and even started to check my passwords. And so I spent, I would say, probably 2 hours going through and making sure everything was secure. And I learned something.
No. What?
I'm pretty secure. Where there's two-factor authentication, I use it. And I was talking to Travis about this, and I told him, I was like, well, I have this password that I reused here. And he was like, yeah. And then but I also had two-factor authentication and another form of authentication on the account. So unless you have my phone and my email, you weren't getting in. And that's not an invitation to SimJack me. Why is that not an invitation to SimJack me?
Because you don't want to get SimJacked, I'm guessing.
No. Do you think that you could SimJack me? There's the question.
Yeah.
Just straight up question. Adam, Travis, I'm inviting you. Could you SimJack me?
Yep. One of the easiest ways to do it is just simply to bribe someone that works for the mobile carrier.
You scum.
Yeah, so it doesn't need to be anything like 007 super hacking or anything like that. Really, just it's happened enough times where just someone like AT&T or Verizon gets $50, then they can just kind of get into your account.
Really? I actually paid less to get Beau's number that I can
Adam.
send Jack. What?
I paid $50.
Oh, you overpaid, buddy.
Yeah, I'm generous.
I dislike you both immensely.
Okay.
No, you don't.
I'll go with that.
I do. I was telling a story. It was a good story about how I'm doing everything right. And if you didn't happen to figure out a way to make me feel completely terrified again, thank you very much, Mr. Doomsday Travis Taylor, Darth Vader.
It's my stock in trade. What can I say?
Welcome to What the Hack, a show about hackers, scammers, and the people they go after. I'm Adam Levin, Cyber Avenger.
And I'm Beau, Cyber Curious.
And I'm Travis, just plain cyber.
And today we're talking to Whim Grace, who we might say experienced the education of Whim Grace while applying for a teaching position overseas when she was 22.
This is Travis Taylor, resident tech guy and What the Heck with Adam Levin. I've worked for decades in all things tech, and in that time I've worked on a lot of websites. And I have to say, one of the easiest platforms to use has been Squarespace. I'm always getting asked by friends and relatives for help with their websites. And the beautiful thing about Squarespace is that I hardly ever get asked by anyone for help on their sites. Its intuitive interface makes building and maintaining a site for your business, organization, or just collection of photos of your cat quick and easy. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that can let anyone, even a complete novice, get up and running with clean designs that look great on any device or smartphone. It lets you share to social media accounts and has analytics to let you know how many people are coming to your site. If you want to sell things on your website, it also makes setting up e-commerce a snap. But don't take my word for it. Head to squarespace.com/whatthehack today for a free trial. If you like what you see, use promo code WhatTheHack to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain name.
Whim, we'd like to introduce you to your relative, Beau.
Hey, Beau.
Oh, hello, my mother's cousin's daughter.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Nano was your grandmother?
Yeah, no.
Nano.
Yeah.
Nano.
Yeah.
I see. I'm from
It's
Connecticut,
okay.
so it's just
No,
Nano.
no, you're cool.
then-
I just, for a second, I'm like, wait, what is that? Yeah.
That's your grandparents.
Yeah, that was my grandparents, yeah.
You could be like a 13th cousin, twice removed.
Well, speaking of, if we both do 23andMe, we'll be introduced again.
Oh, God. I've been scared to do that. My mom actually bought it for me, and I'm also like a really mixed kid, so I already have a very diverse background. So I was like terrified to take the test because I was like, it took me forever to memorize all of like the for sure things I have, let alone like all the strange percentages I don't know. I don't know if I want to, is that weird? I don't know if I want to meet more family. It just seems like it gets really complicated really quick.
In full disclosure, I also have a 23andMe in a box, in a drawer, unused, because I too am not quite sure I want to know. To me, it's sort of the genetic version of a Pandora's box. I think it's maybe better unopened in that drawer.
I agree. I see already how we're related. Just
Yeah,
how we
totally.
want to keep distant relations distant, maybe.
Well, yeah, could be. Listen, this is a shame-free zone, which includes my own family of origin. They get a pass. So you're really welcome here today because we're on this show, we're very interested in stories, good stories. And from what I hear, you have a really good story that starts in Spain, maybe? Is that right?
Yeah. It starts in Sevilla, Spain. Yeah, and I was going to school there. I was getting my CELTA certificate through a Cambridge program.
What
was
is that?
based in Spain. CELTA is like the first certificate you can get that allows you to teach English as a foreign language in the world. So you can teach English as a foreign language, but it's like the first level of accreditation. The next level is Delta, and that allows you to teach like business English.
Well, something else we have in common. I did it illegally in Germany when I was quite young. Yes. No certificate. I'm sure I feel bad for all of them because they were speaking gutter English. But
So, Whim, in addition to teaching, what other things do you do?
I'm a musician. I've been a touring musician for a long time. I'm
What do
also
you-
a stripper, but just also
I have a
like
stripper in the family? Oh my God.
This
you
is-
you guys like weird stories. There you go.
Beau was trying out for Chippendales, but Travis and I got him under control.
I wish
Oh, he only does it for you guys now.
I do, but I wish that the look on my face could be translated into audio. I was so fascinated. So when I feel like I should be more fascinated by your music, but I'm curious. So you're a stripper currently, and you work somewhere doing that, or?
Yeah, I'm in New Orleans working in the French Quarter. Work
Uh-huh.
at Penthouse, very nice club.
Very cool. And then
Yeah.
the music you make, I've heard some of it. It's how would you describe it? What is the genre?
It's like haunting indie, folk, I guess, but with electric guitars.
Okay, so now in your stripper life, I'm sure that you've also been exposed to scams, correct?
No,
Really?
not,
I mean,
not at
everything's been
all.
pretty straight up. That's good.
That's actually one of my attractions to the work. I don't think people ever think about it that way, but I feel like it's one of the most like honest jobs you can have. There's no real confusion why people are in the space, you know.
It's a straightforward transaction.
Pretty normal, and you get paid cash. Who gets cash anymore? You know, it's like it's pretty clear and clean for me. It's not everyone's experience of it, just like anything, but
Well, and nobody's hiding anything. So
exactly.
it's all out in the open, as we say. Hello?
If you don't stop bothering me about ratings, I swear to God, you're making me lose my mind.
I need ratings. Ratings.
For what?
I don't want to be
Ratings for what?
underrated.
I don't need ratings. I personally have plenty of good self-esteem around this show. I think we're doing a good job.
We need like people who listen, who say, hello, I love you.
For what?
Don't you want to be loved? I want to be loved. We are
Don't you love me?
podcast lovable.
No. If you're listening to this really pathetic thing right now and you want it to stop, the easiest way to make that happen is to review the show and rate it on Apple Podcasts. He's not going to stop.
Your head.
He won't quit.
This is our moment. We need to have
Rate the show, please. Okay, Adam,
What?
knock it off. So, what is getting a certification to teach? How does that lead to a scam? What happened?
So I went from Sevilla, the program wrapped, and I went from Sevilla to Portugal, in Cascais, Portugal. It's beautiful, but it was winter, so I was in a surf hostel that was empty.
So you're on the sea, you're on the Atlantic.
Right? Yeah. Raining.
Is this
most
kind of
days.
like The Shining, but in Europe, you know?
I hope not. I don't remember that part of the story.
Good, you were sleeping. It's better you didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I wanted to get some me time because I'd been, around a bunch of students and I really love the ocean, but also I thought I'd take all that quiet to fill out all these applications to teach in various countries abroad. And it's a pretty tedious process. And everything's online, which was pretty new back then. This was like over a decade ago. There's various websites that have various jobs. And I specifically have a lot of background teaching children outside of teaching English. And so I wanted to work with kids. And anyway, so I was looking through all these jobs and started applying and, in my quiet time and then like surfing and bad weather by myself in between. And as I was going through these applications, 2 jobs got back to me and they said they wanted to hire me. And one was based in Indonesia and one was based in Portugal. So I was like really obviously excited about both, but it's pretty hard to get a job in Europe in general. I had teaching experience, but not so much. It was like in Europe, so it was like a really amazing opportunity for me. And also, I was already in love with Portugal because I was there. So I just said no to the Indonesia job and yes to the Portugal job.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
In your application, did it say that you were in Portugal?
I did not mention that, no, because you're just kind of filling out. They're not asking you where you're based at the time.
So they had no way of knowing you were in Portugal?
No.
Other than looking at your IP address, maybe. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, I was very excited. I was planning, I'd be like, oh, spend the holidays in Europe and then start teaching in the spring. That was my thought. And, started buying work clothes.
Mhm.
And then about a month later, I started receiving kind of poorly written emails, sort of the emails that we're accustomed to now, that lots of people get all over the world from various different places.
We have now must-you job could take, if
Yeah.
you would like, $5 to $20, $65.
Yeah. And the only thing that's in good English is send money, Yeah, so I started getting those sorts of emails supposedly from the school. And obviously that was a big, big red flag. I talked to my program just in case there was something I wasn't aware of. They're like, oh, we need money to pay for your travel expenses and, da 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 da.
So they needed money from you so they could pay you for your travel expenses.
Yeah, they would.
I like that. That's
Wait, Adam, you do that to me all the time.
Well, that's different. I do.
I thought it was totally legit. Whim, what? I don't actually understand. Honestly, I'm not kidding now. I don't really get how that works. So, say again. Come again. You.
I mean,
go ahead.
What? Which part? Which
the
part do you want me to
about
say
you
again?
sending money. Like, how did?
No, I mean, I didn't. But they were saying for like the proper paperwork that needed to be taken care of in order for me to work for them, I needed to give them money. Well, what was amazing was that the application process was really tedious, and there had been emails supposedly from the school beforehand, which probably had been like copy pasted and then moved around slightly or something. Everything had seemed very official. There were supposed pictures of the school.
Was it fabulous?
No. They were like you would expect, these tiny little schools with like, kids in these small classrooms and, nothing gave it away until the very last bit. It was almost disappointing on their side because if they had spent all this time, obviously, for all the earlier part of the work, and if they had just done something similar on the last end, they probably would have been at least more successful with me.
But wait, what was the tedium like? Like, what kind of things? Did you have to write an essay? Did you have to?
It's pages of all kinds of questions. There's specific types of, like, they want to know what kind of teacher you are, what kind of learning you prefer or types of students you prefer, obviously your background, how you handle certain situations, there's kind of basic kind of grammar checks, like what book do you use, this and that. There's like,
Now,
what do you refer to.
Were they asking you for personal information about you?
In the application?
Yeah.
Just like you would in any other job, like what's your background in this and,
But not
Was
your
it
social
like-
security number or anything.
No,
like that.
no, there was none of that beforehand. Yeah.
But the tedium, the test, all that stuff, the application, that was all in totally believable and perfectly fine English?
Yeah, it was perfect English. It was just like all the other applications I had filled out for like real jobs.
I'm wondering, how did you come across the application to begin with? Did you find it online? Or?
Yeah, there's some basic websites that are recommended. Like these were websites that are most schools would send you to, or like other jobs would send you to if you're looking for the next place, kind of thing.
So they were cruising for somebody who wanted to apply for a job as a teacher.
Yeah, they were specifically targeting rogue teachers. Well, I don't know why you do that.
That's a thing. That's a thing with scammers. They love targeting people who can't afford to be scammed. Did you have any interaction with a human being during this process?
In the last bad English emails, they called me, and that was extra funny.
Oh, so they had your phone number then. Well, obviously, yeah.
That was part of the application, and also definitely like the final parts of getting the job, so they could reach me for various things like asking for money and bad English, which also happened on the phone. So they didn't even have a proper English speaker.
Do you have any idea where in the
On the
world they were
phone.
calling from? Do you know where this was based or no?
No, I have no idea. I know it was not clear on any level where they were coming from based on that phone call. It was very short. The accent could have been from like a lot of different locations. I don't know. It wasn't. My school was sort of horrified to hear that I was being asked for money. They said that's really unusual. Obviously, a different day and age.
And then, and that was
so
when
unusual.
they stole your car and held your dog for ransom.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened next. Yeah, and then we went to Antarctica, and I fell in love with a penguin, and it turns out to be a really beautiful story.
The penguin
Long
part I
love.
heard was nice, but the Interpol agent was sort of a jerk, right?
Yeah, but all Interpol agents are. It's a
Yeah.
shitty job.
Well, I'm glad. So, how's the penguin these days? Still doing okay?
Yeah, we have a special connection.
Yeah. You should talk to Adam. He has a penguin friend.
Do you have a penguin?
Yeah, invisible penguin, yeah. Also, lots of friends that are moose, too. I mean,
Well, you have a moose?
Is the moose also invisible?
an invisible moose, yeah. And a squirrel. No, that was the cartoon series I was doing, so.
Boris is moose and squirrel.
You missed, actually, Whim. I think I live now where you're in an area sort of like where your mom used to live. And so I came home the other night and there was a giant, and I mean giant, like 18 feet tall coyote in my front yard. Come to think of it, it might have been a moose. I didn't make friends with him. I told him to go off, actually, because you might know that I have 2 tripod dogs. And so I feel like it's coyote bait. And I just wanted that coyote to go away.
And at the time, you were feeling your inner Logan Roy.
Yeah, I don't know. Who's Logan Roy?
Succession?
Oh, I don't watch it, so I don't know.
That's what he tells everyone to do.
Yeah, Logan Roy says off a lot. I think
he
that
says
was the
off
reference.
a lot.
Yeah.
That's what he
I say
does.
a lot too.
That's when he loves you. He says off.
Oh.
And so goes our rating. Travis is now slowly pulling every remaining strand of hair out of his head.
Yeah, Adam, what do you think Travis thinks about this mess of a show? We're not supposed to say
This seems to be pretty up at this point.
Anyway, I never heard Adam say before. Whim, you should probably say just once so that everyone has said it and we can be done.
There you go.
Yeah. How did you feel when you got scammed? Because this sucks. You had a legit job in Indonesia, and you went for the job in Portugal because you were enjoying your shining experience on the coast of the wintry, Atlantic there. You talked about feeling idealistic and naive, and you learned the hard way and all that. But what did you learn? Did it change anything for you going forward?
I mean, yeah. It definitely changed a lot. I'm overtly idealistic and good-humored, and even though 10 years later, I still am. Even when the world's burning, I still am.
Yeah.
And so but I'm not stupid, and I read the writing on the wall. But I was a little bit hit over the head that someone would spend so much time trying to get money from people who obviously don't have a lot of money. These are like some of the worst paid positions as a teacher you could possibly have. These are not people who are sitting on any board. It's like half of these jobs you're getting room and board, maybe a little stipend on the side. It's very, very little.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of blew my mind that would be interesting enough or motivating enough for any person. Obviously not the best idea, not the greatest scam if you're trying to fill your pockets up with money.
Well, I almost feel like somebody had an axe to grind against a teacher somewhere along the way, and this is how they basically got it out of their system. Unfortunately, trying to get money out of your system.
Well, how much money was it? How much did they need from you?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it was like €1,000 or something like
Oh, it
that.
was not a small amount of money.
That's a number.
Yeah. Yeah. I was,
I was
plane
thinking it was like
ticket,
$50 or something.
paper. No, it was a chunk. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't remember it specifically, but it was a chunk of change. Yeah.
So now you don't go forward now. That's what I'm saying. Is like, so now, like, you don't look at the world through, those scumbag colored glasses.
I don't. Maybe I should.
I don't know. I mean, it would color my perception of the world, and it sounds like it really
No.
didn't for you. I mean,
No,
you're
I
more
mean,
careful, I guess.
I'm careful. I definitely do more due diligence for like a lot of things. I spend a lot of time researching. It's a lot easier though to do it. Like, Google has a zillion things that come up. Now, I mean, it was that the whole internet world is a very, very different place now. It makes it a little bit easier in a sense to like, look up something like a school like that or, an organization or something. But
So listen, if you hadn't been scammed, do you think you'd still be teaching?
I definitely have taught since I was scammed, but I never taught abroad after that. So I think that is interesting. And I think definitely had a lot to do with that moment in time. I think a couple times in my life, I think like other people, I've been screwed over. And instead of like continuing in that direction, I was like, okay, we're going to do this now. And I just would full pivot. And that's worked for me. I don't know if that's like the cowardice route. It might be because I don't like hitting my head against the wall too much. I like to think about it as like abstract thinking, abstract problem solving. Just work on a different problem. Never mind. So.
Well, why suffer when you don't have to?
Exactly.
I kind of like that.
I mean, Beau and I, we suffer when we don't have to. That's part of what we do is we suffer.
That's how this podcast came to be.
This is right. So, Travis, basically, the information that Whim provided is they could use this information kind of as a lead-in for other scams, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Scammers can and will use any information, any data that they have on you to their advantage. That's one of the reasons why things like posting too much information on social media is never a good idea. Once that information's out there, it is out there. It can be used for to figure out your security questions. It could be used to scam someone that you might be connected to online, to be able to say like, hey, remember me from blank? And then they can just use that information to impersonate you. The number of applications are sort of limitless, unfortunately.
Yeah, but Travis, at the end of the day, if someone's super clever and I'm super not paying attention, I might click the link. I might. And I feel like, at some point, I got a different question for you, Whim. Do you pretty careful? Do you protect your data? Are you like, do you think that you're kind of hard to scam? Like, do you have your credit frozen? Do you have your password set all uniquely and differently and use two-factor authentication? Or do you just use Nanon as your password and let it rip?
We had a guy that definitely was using Sacre Bleu as his password.
Nanon. My aunt, whose name I never learned how to say because she wasn't actually my aunt. I think she was my grandmother's cousin.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about it now. I always feel like you could be better, but I also feel like if someone really wanted to, like I'm not particularly like versed in the best ways to hack someone, but I am very aware of how much information I can get on somebody. And I have very little skills.
The open source
I mean?
intelligence.
Yeah. So I feel like it is helpful that I move around a lot. It's helpful. I have artist names. All those sorts of things have protected me, and I didn't plan on those protecting me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we all don't belong to ourselves anymore. Haven't in a long time, and it is sadly a bit of luck of the draw. I think it's I think unless you are really, really vigilant and constantly changing everything all the time, which I don't know a single person who does that.
Yeah. Well, you do. You're talking to a couple of them, but
oh, okay. All right. Well, good for you. I'm glad you're.
No, I mean, I have to. I constantly am going nah, 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 to like people who would like to scam me. So I do have to keep it a little tight and right. But yeah, I was just curious because it seems like that is a liability. But I do have a question. Do I remember correctly that your Instagram account was hacked?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how was that? You got phished or no?
It was like a kind of phishing. A buddy of mine got hacked and they contacted me through their account, that sort of thing.
Oh, it's the Turkish scam. We're very familiar with this hack.
Yeah, I think it's probably really, really common. I'm glad I didn't get the more aggressive hack though. I had heard once about people being their accounts held hostage in a sense. I heard other people from the same thread of hacking I was a part of getting more aggressive versions of that. Yeah. And sadly I had a, kind of a stupid moment, I guess, by not being a little bit more suspicious, like other times in my life, and got hacked. And that it definitely affected, a lot of these things are number games, but that's okay. Like life goes on.
So you have a new Instagram account and you should probably, get a few new followers today. What is your new handle at Instagram?
It's at Whim on a Whim.
Whim on a Whim?
Yeah.
That's easy. But it's not Whim on a Whim.
No, not Whim on a Whim. But you could say Whim on a Whim.
Whim on a Whim.
Yeah.
All right. Whim on a Whim.
Whim, this has been great.
Bye, Whim.
Bye, guys.
And if you want to hear one of Whim's songs, please stick around till the end of this episode.
Do you know Whim is not alone in being scammed like that?
Because we are not alone in the universe.
No, but there's the application scams are a dime a dozen, and the most common one right now is with COVID, where there are fake COVID testing sites set up, and they'll stick something up your nose, but what they're really doing is gathering your information. You don't get any results. Well, the results you get is that your identity, you experience identity theft.
Well, not only that, but they stick something up your nose and then they charge your credit card for it.
Well, some of them are free, and that's the even more insidious part because it's a free test, right? Except it's not free at all.
Well, except for that they're trying to figure out how to charge the government or the insurance company for it.
No. Or they're just trying to get your information, which
that too,
right? To commit
they get
identity.
your birth date.
Travis, you ever been find yourself with an application situation that was looking for some money and bibbity bop, bibbity boo?
A couple of times when I've done some job searches in the past, I usually a little bit too far into the process, I would be realizing they're asking for my social security number and a whole bunch of this other information. And then I just have to stop and say, I need to kind of figure out whether or not this is legit. And in a couple of cases, it has absolutely not been. It's definitely been a scam.
Hey, Travis, think about it. Beau hasn't realized the fact that when he filed an application to be on this show, you and I nailed him for some money and some information.
I do know that actually because I've been looking for it ever since.
The trauma that drove him to the woods of Connecticut.
Yeah.
What can people do to avoid this problem? Well, one of the things they can do is be very, very careful about what information they give anywhere, to anyone, for any reason, and they need to independently verify the person that they're talking to.
Yeah, but what if you are applying for a job? What then? I mean, there's a legitimate request out there that many employers will present a prospective employee with, which is, I need your social security number because I need to run a credit check.
No,
and they need to. Yes, they do. If you're going to drive a Brinks truck, they do a credit check.
It is not about the fact that they're going to ask for that information, it is entirely appropriate for an employer to ask for the information. The issue is not that they ask for the information, but when they ask for the information.
Well, so what if they're not lazy? What if they're like Whim's tedious scammer?
In that case, I think just having to do a little bit of research ahead of time just to make sure that the organization you're looking up is legitimate.
I think that's right.
Double check all the information. You can find out whether or not, like, the school in that case actually existed. And if the school does exist, check out their website to see if they're hiring.
And you can also check to see if there are any instances of people alleging scams.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very simple one. You just Google it and you will see. And Adam, what else?
Well, there's no question that when people feel like they've been wronged, they get loud on social media.
Yeah.
So you would be looking to read reviews. There are sites you can go to where you can get sort of the 411 on different companies to see whether or not you even want to work for them. And a lot of companies will be open about the fact we are hiring right now. So you need to independently confirm who they are, what they want, why they want it, and then also during the interview process, because you shouldn't just do something sight unseen like, oh, I like the job. Well, okay, what's your social security number? No, I need to talk to somebody first, and as somebody that I can feel comfortable talking to. Not to say that a scammer can't put on the airs, as it were, and sound very legitimate.
Especially in the era of COVID. There's a lot more remote jobs, a lot more situations where you're not going to be going in and meeting someone face to face. So it's a lot easier just to set something up. Like the sort of situation that Whim found herself in.
Well, listen, guys, speaking of reviews, Adam, don't you think maybe our listeners should do something in that department?
I am hopeful that if you listen to this show and you feel that we are the upstanding, lovable, spiritual human beings that add value to your day.
Lovable.
Why don't they go to Apple Podcasts and rate us and give us a 5? Five numerologically means, change. And yes, we feel that if you come to our site and listen to our shows, you will be changed. Therefore, 5 is an entirely appropriate number.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done. 5 stars will make your life a much better life indeed. And also, to cut straight to the chase, when you rate the show on Apple, it helps people find the show. Simple as that. And if you like it and you really want to tell us why you like it, you can review it. And if you want to review it and you want to do what a reviewer just did and said, Travis is awesome, the other 2 guys are bleh, you could do that too, I suppose.
Before we go, let's close out this episode with the song Star Child by Whim Grace. It's available on all streaming platforms and on whimgrace.bandcamp.com.
Cigarettes on your doorstep, wolf in your bed, angels shrouded, house calls from the devil in the dead. Speaking of truth that needs to be said. Caffeine whispers, tarot card night, speaking in tongues with lovers that bite, painting the world in a crystalline light. You're a star child, walking the line. You're a star child, walking the line between the foretold. I'm no foreign shore, knowing now what you didn't before. Secret rendezvous, planetary storm. The future calls to you. Time to perform. You're looking at me like you want more. You're a star child, walking the line. You're a star child, walking the line between then and now. Between then and now. Feel the pyramids shake the ground, ground, ground. Blood, rain, and ash falling down, down, down. Creatures, shape is shifting in the night, night, night. Your return, changing my life, life, life. Star child, walking the line. You're a star child, walking the line between then and now. Between then and now.
What the Hack with Adam Levin is a production of Loud Tree Media.
It's produced by Andrew Stephen, the man with two first names.
You can find us online at loudtreemedia.com and on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Adam K. Levin.